we always think that meaning lies in the sender. So what I mean by that, so if my intentions are good, then everything's okay. But that's not it, because the meaning is not in my intentions. The meaning is how the people are receiving that message, how that it's impacting them.
Welcome to the Swiss Made Success channel. Please make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications for life-changing inspiration. And now, enjoy the interview. All right, welcome to another episode of the Stairway to Excellence podcast here, the Swiss Made Success channel. Today, our guest is an executive emotional intelligence and conversational intelligence coach, working with corporate managers and executives to help them build their leadership skills. She's focused on supporting entrepreneurs and accelerate their business growth, their personal growth as leaders, and getting the best out of their team. She's also a professional certified coach by the International Coaching Federation and general manager at the Accomplish.com, a coaching and consulting company that services the pharmaceutical and non-pharmaceutical industry in Lebanon. Welcome, Coach Nadine Zeinoun.
Thank you, Erid. It's great to be here.
Thank you for being with us. I've seen your material online and I thought it was really great, and it's an honor to have you as a guest.
Thank you. Thank you. The honor is mine.
Awesome. So would you like to tell us a little about your background for who doesn't know you?
Sure. Originally, before I went into coaching, I was actually in the pharmaceutical industry because I have a master's in pharmacology and therapeutics. So that's where I started my career. And I used to work in a pharmaceutical company. And I had different positions, from sales representative to later on, sales manager, brand manager, product manager, brand manager for the Middle East. So it was really a very nice experience, but it wasn't coaching. So after I left, because I had my third child and I couldn't, I had a lot of traveling to do, and it wasn't easy when I got my third child. So I sat at home, and then I noticed that I have too much energy for home. So I had to, make a change. So that's when I started my own company. And I started, as a consultant for the pharmaceutical in the marketing. So I used to help them in marketing, because that was my expertise at the time, sales and marketing. So that's how I started. But then, they started asking me, why don't you train our reps? You used to train your team, and when you were at Merck, why don't you train our team, etc. And so I started training them, and I noticed that, wow, I love developing people. I love helping people learn skills and do things better, etc., and grow and develop. So, that spark started up inside me, and I felt that I need to develop this. So I went into emotional intelligence. I got certified on emotional intelligence on a tool, which is EQI 2.0. And it's really an amazing tool, and it really gives a lot of insight into the person. So you see really how you behave and how you think, and how different areas of your life really come into play to make you who you are. So it's really amazing. And I love that. But I felt that I needed something more to help them develop, not just to diagnose what's going on. And that's when I went into coaching. And really, when I started coaching, I just fell in love with the whole thing. And I guess, Erid, you're a coach yourself. And like this transformation that you cause or you support people to take, it's so really, it's so fulfilling. And it's like nothing I've ever done before. And that's when I knew that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And here I am.
Super great. Yeah, coaching is a really great tool. And I was like, in the beginning, I was doing consulting, so I thought that was coaching. But when I discovered like coaching, it was the whole new level. So
Yeah,
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 yes,
true.
true. Awesome. So yeah, you're a conversational intelligence coach, right? Emotional
Uh-huh.
intelligence coach. Would you like
Yes,
to expand a little on that? Maybe you can tell us, yeah,
sure,
what exactly is and
sure,
how can we use it to have a better life?
sure. Conversational intelligence is, as the name says, it's around conversation. So how you can use the power of conversations to actually reach the maximum potential that you have, and help your team and the people around you unleash their potential and reach the maximum potential that they have as well. Because you see, a conversation is not just an exchange of words or ideas. Like, for example, me and you were talking now. It's much more than these words that are being exchanged among us. Conversations actually impact the whole neurochemistry, and this is all based on Judith Glazer's research. So, God rest her soul. She was our coach and our teacher, and she was amazing. She created this concept. So she always thought that words and conversations, they change the whole neurochemistry of the person. So what do I mean by that? So, for example, when I talk to you, if things go well, I can change your neurochemistry into, I can cause your brain to secrete oxytocin, to cause the secretion of oxytocin, which is it's the bonding chemical. So this neurochemical allows me and you to create trust. And if we do create trust together, what happens is I access my prefrontal cortex, which is the area in my brain behind your forehead. When you access this area is kind of like the executive brain. It's the area that helps you problem solve, strategize, be compassionate, think more outside the box, and have good judgment, etc. So many things that you need for your success, you need your prefrontal cortex to be active. So when our conversation builds trust, you can access that part of your brain. Whereas if our conversation is scary to you, it doesn't make you feel safe, what happens is your body will produce cortisol. And when you produce cortisol, then your prefrontal cortex, you have no access to it. It shuts down. And you start functioning from your instinctive brain, which is the reptilian brain, the part here. And this part is kind of like protect. So I'm protecting myself from you because I can't trust you. So I go into protect mode, which means I won't share much with you. I will be very skeptical of what I say and how I say it and what information I give you. And so instead of really co-creating together, I actually limit you and you will limit me. And the end result is not the best that we can produce together. And that's why it's very much related to efficiency and output. So if I'm a leader and I really have good conversational intelligence, I will be able to get the best out of my team, engage them, make them feel happy and safe where they are. They will be able to innovate, to take risks, so on and so forth. So it's very, very important to get the best out of people in organizations. And this is very much needed in nowadays.
200%. That's it's true, because that's in every the leaders and also in everyday life. I mean, if we want to have like a relaxed conversation with somebody,
Yeah.
just to connect.
Yeah.
So that sounds great.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. And I'm sure, Erid, if I ask you,
yeah.
I mean, haven't you had like these conversations which you feel, wow, you feel so good after you connect with these people? Have you ever felt that in a conversation?
Yes.
So
Yeah,
tell me,
many
how does that
times.
feel?
That feels really
Yeah.
relaxed. I feel like something which I call, I'm a musician, so I say I feel in the groove. Like, it's like the emotion
Exactly,
goes, you can make a
exactly,
joke. You're not afraid to say your opinion, like, you're not going to be judged.
exactly. You can be your authentic self.
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So that's it. That's the co-creation. This is what Judith called co-creation. So the co-creation is when the oxytocin is so high that we're like flowing together, and we're giving each other information, we're sharing, we're creating, and we're coming up with a solution that's neither mine nor yours. It's much better than either one of us can create on our own. And that's where that conversation really brings fulfillment, happiness, and productivity and efficiency. So
Mhm.
that's why it's really important.
Okay, that sounds really great, and it makes sense. So, what are some of the traits of conversational intelligence? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. First of all, when you want to talk about conversational intelligence, I mean, to be conversationally intelligent, you need to make sure that whatever you talk about, so the conversation is a conversation that will bring about trust, because the trust is going to create the oxytocin and bring out the best in the other person and in you. So how do you create trust? So that's why you have to start by thinking of the words. So, our words create worlds. So what I mean by that, and that's another thing that Judith used to tell us. So every word I tell you, Erid, I might mean something, but you might understand it in a totally different way. So if I ask you, like, tell me 10 words that come to your mind that, uh, are related to success, for example, you might come up with 10 words that are totally different from the words that I come up with. Why? Because a word is very powerful. It's going to create a whole world for you. The way you understand the word is totally different, maybe, from the way I say it. So, first of all, we need to think of the words we use. We need to make sure that the words we use create safe space for other people. When I say it's safe space, I mean they need to be respectful. They need to make the other person feel like you're including them, that you're part of a team together. You need to make people feel that even the tone that you use goes with the word, because that body language and voice are like 93% of the message. So you need to be careful to the way you're saying things, and your words need to be aligned with the body language that you're using. So I can't come and tell you, like, Erid, I'm saying this because I care about you, and I'm saying it in a way that's angry, and I'm frowning. So okay, so you're gonna say, what's going on? Your brain, even your heart, is gonna say, okay, there's dissonance. This guy is telling me good words, but look at his body language. Look at his electromagnetic energy, that he's sending me. That electromagnetic field that we have that surrounds our heart, that is produced by our heart. We can sense these, and conversations start there. It starts from there. So if there's a dissonance between what you're saying and how you're saying it, it doesn't make me feel safe. So I need to be careful to the words. I need to be careful about the tone and make sure that they're aligned together. And also, I need to make people feel included. So, like, for example, at work, this happens a lot. When, like, the manager, he doesn't share much information with people. He just gives them, what to do or whatever. So this doesn't create a safe space, because people, when they don't feel included, then their cortisol is going to go high. It's going to go up, and then this is going to really wreck the relationship between them and the whole chemistry between them. And this is not going to make them give their best, because slowly they will feel that, okay, if this is what he wants, fine, then okay, I'll just do whatever he says, and that's it. So the commitment is gone, the engagement is gone, and of course with this, their performance is going to go down, and then the leader will start complaining. I have a team who's so disengaged, they're not proactive, whatever. Yeah, but let's think of where was the start of this? And many times the start of this is because the people feel excluded, and this enhances the cortisol in the brain, and it impacts the whole commitment and engagement. So I don't know if I answered you in terms of that.
Sure. So in this case, like, let's say the example you told me about the manager and the team, is like the team is almost like the effect, like the manager is the cause of this kind of atmosphere that it's created, this untrust or these kind of uncoordinated teams or whatever.
Of course, I don't want to say that, you know, I don't want to put like the whole pressure and the whole blame on the manager or on the leader, but I always tell my coachees, you know, let's ask, okay, how are people receiving your message? Because you see, we always think that you know, meaning lies in the sender. So what I mean by that, so if my intentions are good, then everything's okay. But that's not it, because the meaning is not in my intentions. The meaning is how the people are receiving that message, how that it's impacting them. So a lot of times there's a big gap between my intention and how people are impacted. And that gap, that's not good. You need to, a leader, a mature leader, it's important for him to have good self-awareness, to understand that his intention is not landing well. It's not really giving the impact that he wants to give. I'll tell you why it's bad. First of all, it's not creating trust. So it won't create trust. And the people will always be distant, and they won't do what he wants them to do, and they won't give their best. And of course, this is not it's not in the advantage of the leader. And at the same time, even the image of the leader is not really showing up like he wants it to. So people will get a different image than what he actually wants them to think, and they will misunderstand him. And the leader starts feeling misunderstood. Why do they hate me? Why do they think I'm dry or cold or whatever? It's because of this gap. It doesn't matter what your intention is. The important thing is, how are those people receiving your message? How are they receiving your actions? How are they receiving anything you do with them, any initiative you take? That's what's important. And if there is a gap, it's the job of the leader, and not the responsibility of the leader, to do something to actually bridge the gap and, you know, make sure that his intention is really the impact that it's having on the team. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense, because if we have a problem and nobody takes responsibility or charge, yeah, exactly. So I think we need a problem solver, and if I get it right, you telling me that we can be that problem solver by being intelligently, conversationally
intelligent.
Exactly. Awesome.
And it's not easy. I'm saying it's not easy. I mean, it's not like something that's going to happen overnight. It's something that takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of self-awareness. You know, especially when a leader, you know, leaders are usually, not all leaders, of course, we don't want to stereotype or anything, but a lot of leaders are very focused on results and how are we going to get, you know, the business, the growth, etc. Because, you know, they're also pressured by all this. You know, we have to understand them. They're also pressured by their management or the board of directors if they're, you know, CEOs. So they have a lot of pressure to achieve. And a lot of times when we have this pressure to achieve, we're in a state of high cortisol. So we're in that fear zone, you know. So that's why we inflict indirectly fear around us. And that doesn't help, because anything that's based on fear will not allow people to really give their best. So we need to think, okay, how can I take those people from fear into the trust zone?
Exactly. So, all right. So my next question would be, how do we learn the conversational intelligence?
Great. First of all, you need to be aware. So you have to keep an eye and see. So if you see like people around you, and if it's not a leader, if it's a mom or a dad or whatever, if you see people around you, like your kids or your husband or your wife, or maybe your friends, they behave with you in a way that shows fear. Okay, like for example, they don't listen to you. Maybe they hide things from you. Maybe they do things behind your back. Maybe you ask them to do things and then you see them doing something else. So here, it's when you start seeing these behaviors, what happens usually is that we go into judgment and we judge these people as, you know, disloyal or not committed, or they don't listen, they're stubborn. You know, we start giving them all these, you know, judgments. And when you find yourself doing that, you need to, you know, pause and think, okay, are they really like that? Or am I like finding excuses for things? Because you see, when our cortisol is high, we will tend to make stories and movies. So our mind is very good at making stories and making false assumptions. So a lot of times we interpret other people's behaviors in a certain way. So if we find ourselves doing that often, then we need to stop and think, okay, what's going on? And we really need to go inside ourselves and see, you know, are we creating fear unconsciously? How are we behaving with the people? Are we like too controlling? Do we include them? Do we use respectful language? Are we, you know, do we like spontaneously shout at them or whatever? So how am I dealing with my kids? How am I dealing with my team? How am I dealing with my friends? So here is where you need to really reflect on yourself. And it's not easy. And sometimes we don't even want to see that because, you know, I don't want to see my faults. Nobody wants to see his faults. But we have to do that. That's why you need to be courageous. You have to take that courage and use that courage to see yourself and look yourself in the mirror. And sometimes if it's difficult for you, you can ask people around. So the first thing is create your good self-awareness. Second, you have to make a decision. I need to decide that this is not the relationship I want. I don't want a relationship based on fear, a relationship based on trust. So third, I need to start listening to people. And listening is super important because, you know, you're a coach, you know how important listening is. And when you really don't judge people and you really listen to connect with them and to understand their world, as we said, words create worlds. So what did my words create for them? What's the world it created for them? I need to listen to them with no judgment. I need to listen to them with an open mind and an open heart and really connect with how are they feeling? You know, what's their world like? What are they going through? And, you know, doing that alone really creates a lot of oxytocin and it creates a lot of trust between them. And this is something that's very difficult. It takes a lot of energy, but it needs practice. But, you know, once you decide, this is something that's very important. So listening is very important, not judging, and asking questions. Questions, we call them in conversational intelligence, Judith used to call them questions that we don't have answers to. So what does she mean by that? What she means by that is that most of the time when we ask people questions, they're kind of like interrogations because we want to nail them or we want to, you know, prove to them that we're right or something. So it's like undercover questions that we're doing for our sake, not for them. So here you need to ask questions that you really don't know what's going on. Okay, so you behaved like this and this made me feel, you know, insignificant. But instead of telling them, you know, you're impolite and disrespectful, you know, I can ask them, what made you behave in that way? So you really need to get your brain out of the I know everything and allow yourself to you know, investigate and, you know, play a game of being curious. So get into curiosity mode and try to know from their point of view what made them behave in this way. Why are they not listening to me? Why are they, ignoring what I ask them to do, etc.? So let them say, rather than me making the conclusions, which are most of the time wrong conclusions. So these are the major and most important things. Get out of judgment, get into listening and being curious. This is like if you can do these three things, believe me, you can do a lot.
All right. So just for myself, let me repeat that. First step to creating conversational intelligence is being aware, like being aware of what we think, how we are behaving, what kind of relationships do we have around with our people,
exactly,
with our friends, with our partners, kids, etc. And second point is start listening.
Yeah.
All right. And then it was being curious, right? Be really curious about what's their other people opinion or how they interpret the world.
Exactly.
Not only to prove our point,
And
right?
exactly. Get out of judgment.
Get out of judgment. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so awesome. Good. So these are some steps. What else to create conversational intelligence?
Now, if you can do these four, believe me, you can do a lot. But a prerequisite to all these four is you need to adopt a mind that's open. So open-mindedness. Because what do I mean by open-mindedness? I mean that a lot of times we want to listen, okay? But our mind is not really open. So we're kind of like, we have the answer in our mind. So we're the expert. We know what's going on. If you want to really practice conversational intelligence, the first thing you need to practice is getting out of I know it all and getting into a childlike curiosity. And that takes a lot, because that's kind of like, ego-wise, again, Judith used to call it addiction to being right. So we're addicted to being right because, when we are right, the dopamine levels surge in our brain. And, like anything that's addictive, dopamine causes an addiction. So being right is really a feel good thing. When I'm right, I feel like, wow, I have so much power. I'm on top of this world, etc. So this is nice. And the more a leader or a mom or a dad or whatever, anyone in a power position in some way feels that, then they feel like they always need to be the expert and they always need to know, be right. So this closes down listening. It closes down being curious, because when our mind has the answer, it's not going to look for it anymore. So the killer is you having the answer. So you need to get out of, that's a prerequisite to everything. Get out of I know it all and get into let's discover. Okay, discovery mode. If does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yes, of course. And sounds really true and also really smart, because you get faster to your goal, whatever it is, if you collaborate with other people, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Only imposing your point of view, or it's like you don't have a team. You just have you give orders.
True.
So that sounds to me, when you get to involve your team in this way, right, with a conversational intelligence, like you have somebody engaged, like somebody that want to give their maximum because they feel part of this project, of this vision that you have, or whatever it is, share, right?
Yeah, they would kill for it if you have this culture, culture of trust.
200%. All right. So in order to learn, of course, except of getting, for example, to work with yourself in this in this topic, is there any book or any tool which we can read or use to Be Better Conversational
Yeah.
Intelligence?
There's a book called Conversational Intelligence, which is by Judith Glaser.
Mm-hmm.
So I would recommend that you read it. It's amazing, very nice, beautiful, very full of stories and actual case studies and cases that Judith used to work with, people she used to work with. So it's really very practical. You can learn a lot from that.
Awesome. Talking about stories, just to stay a little more in the conversational intelligence that we can move on. Is there any story on your own experience, any story which you saw maybe the changing of the people you work with or your own life?
Oh yeah. Yeah, of course. I will start with my own life before I talk about anyone else. But it's amazing because, a lot of times when I feel stuck and I feel like, okay, there's something wrong. I'm not being able to communicate with this person. I got angry and, I blew it, in some way I behaved in the way that I don't like to behave. So since I started, when I was, getting certified on conversational intelligence, so we do a lot of self-reflection and thinking and seeing how can we embody the skills ourselves before we start, supporting others. And it's amazing how I saw that, oh my God, it's so true. When I look at why conversations went wrong, I could clearly see that, like in certain situations, I wasn't being open-minded. I wasn't approaching things with an open mind. I was approaching things with a know-it-all. So, and it's amazing how when you change just that little small thing and you decide that, okay, I'm going to get into the conversation, but I'm going to have an open mind. And so I don't have the answer. I'm going to be curious. What could be an answer? And, I ask myself these questions and I get into the conversation. I can't tell you what a turnaround that is. It's amazing. And a lot of things that helped me are like the movies of the mind. We're really good at making those movies. So, I can be Steven Spielberg if I want to, when I want to. So when, we start making all this conspiracy theory, that person is out to get me, etc. And it creates all these unpleasant emotions in you. And then the cortisol goes so high. And I started seeing that. I started seeing how when I make these movies, it changes my whole physiology. I started feeling like my heart beating faster. I started feeling, oh my God, I can't breathe anymore. And I'm in fear. And I saw this even when I'm going to meet clients for the first time during my work. I would enter while I was going to see that client, I was making these movies in my mind and, saying, oh, he's going to say this and he's not going to accept and whatever. And I was like going into a meeting in fear. Imagine. So I'm not going to be able to do my best there. I'm not going to be able to give my best if I'm in fear. But I noticed that. You start noticing it. When you practice a lot, you start noticing it. So while I said, hey, what's going on? Why is my body so tense? What's happening? Why am I talking to myself like this? And then, I took a deep breath and I said, no. That's not how I'm going to go in. I'm going to create trust. So let's change that internal discussion, because you see what's amazing is the same way you want to create trust with people to get the best out of them, you need to create trust with yourself to get the best out of you. So you need to have a good conversation with yourself and the positive conversation with yourself. And it starts here, because if you're all the time talking to yourself in an unpleasant way with negative words and negative views of things, you're going to create a lot of cortisol for yourself and you're not going to be able to trust yourself. And I think that's a very important thing before you do anything with anyone else. Start with yourself.
That is huge. That's huge for real. And of course, like even if you're a leader or a parent or whatever, or teacher, you go at school and you're terrified, how can 20 kids trust you? And when you're telling whatever geography or something, they're not going to listen because the vibe is not there, right?
Exactly.
So I
very true.
Totally can relate, and it's true. We should start with ourselves, and we are like, And the inner conversation, that was huge also for me when I saw that, because it's amazing when you say, hey, how I'm talking to myself, what am I saying, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And you
And the most,
discover so many.
yeah, you discover so many, and you say, actually, where these thoughts come from. I mean, seems like
Yeah,
they are not us, right? Many of the thoughts we have don't even come from ourselves. It's not something we decided, right?
yeah, true. It's just all these, things in our unconscious mind that create all these thoughts. And the problem is when we're not aware, we treat them as if they are reality. And, we treat them as if, this is a fact, but it's not a fact. It's just a thought that came to my mind. Who says that a thought has to be true? And,
Yes.
and the problem is the more we focus on it, the more we will find information that backs up this thought. And then it becomes like a strong belief. And that's when it's very scary, because it's very difficult to get rid of it. And it will drive all your behavior and all your not only your behavior, I mean, even the way you see yourself, the way the emotions that you have, it drives everything. And it's very difficult because it's very crippling. It can be very crippling to people. And I'm sure, Erid, you see that in coaching we see a lot of people suffering from these unpleasant thoughts and unpleasant self-talk that really cripples people. And so that's where we really need to create awareness there. We need to be aware that, okay, what's that conversation I'm having with myself? Okay, let's start here with conversational intelligence here. Let's start with my own conversation with myself. What is that about? And get into curiosity. Why did I behave this way? Oh yeah, okay, without judgment. Oh, I did this because that's what I thought, or whatever, and then start digging more. And that's like an amazing healing thing if we're able to do it.
That sounds really amazing, of self-awareness, discovery, and self-inner healing, as you said.
Yeah,
Beautifully said. Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. So I went to your website, and your phrase on the front is, the secret to personal achievement is freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And the secret to freedom is courage. Can you
Yeah,
can you unpack a little that phrase for us? What do you
sure,
mean?
sure. What I mean by the secret to achievement is freedom, it's freedom from these debilitating, limiting beliefs that we have. Because these beliefs that, when we're created, when we are born into this world, we're like free souls. We can do anything. And we want, we have these aspirations, these dreams. And then, the environment and our parents and anyone in control in our life starts putting all these beliefs, as we were saying now, and all these limiting beliefs that limit us, that no, this is how you need to speak, this is how you need to express yourself. A good a lady would talk like this, she wouldn't talk like this, she would sit like this, she would wear this, whatever. And then you start trying to fit into these all these criteria that they gave you, and that's when you're not free. You lost your freedom there. And that's what happens to us. We lose our freedom because we try to become the person that people want and society wants and the environment wants or my parents want, and I forget what do I want and who am I at the start. So that's why you will always, if you stay in this loop, it's like you're in a prison. And when you're in prison, you can't achieve the success you want. So if you really want achievement, you really want success, you need to break free from this. And that's why I said freedom. And in order to do that, it takes a lot of courage, because you need to go outside the box, and you need to not only go outside the box, you need to defy so many beliefs. Like when I started coaching, I heard a lot of comments like, what are you going to do? Who's going to want to be coached? And, here in Lebanon, come on, and whatever, I heard that like a million times. But you have to have the courage to not listen to all this negative news, to all this people, just breaking down your dream and say, no, I will be what I want to be, and I will help people, and I will make a difference. So that needs courage. And that's why the key to the freedom is courage. You need to use your courage, and we all have it. Okay. I can't say that I have it, you don't have it. Everyone has it. But we just need to tap it, tap into that courage, use it, and free ourselves. And that's when you really, fly high wherever you are.
Yeah, I love that word. You need to tap into it because it's available, it's there. You just need to tune to it.
Yeah.
It's like the radio waves.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, what would be the first step to break free?
Self-awareness. We're back to self-awareness. Whenever you want to master anything, you need to start with self-awareness. So you have to be aware that you're a prisoner. And because we're so comfortable in that prison, we don't notice that we are prisoners. So, and most of the people are like that. Most people around you, if you take a look around, that's why people excel, and majority are, they just stay where they are. They're safe. So it takes self-awareness to notice that, oh my God, I have limiting beliefs, and I'm saying this from experience. Okay, I'm not just saying it. I'm saying it because I also was a prisoner one day, and it took me, and it was when I was being coached by my coach that I noticed how much I was really imprisoned, and how I had these limiting beliefs and this self-talk that was really keeping me where I wanted to be, where I didn't want to be. And only that self-awareness made me think more and say, wow, yeah, that's true. What am I doing? Where am I going to be? Is this going to help me be where I want to be? And then I had to use my courage to break out of that. So again, it all goes back to self-awareness. That's why self-reflectionism is so important, really. And very few people reflect on that these days. We're always in a hurry. People are running, no time. People are busy, not necessarily doing the right thing, but they're just busy. And all this busyness, it takes you out of the self-reflection. It sabotages the time for self-reflection that can help you notice the limiting beliefs so that you can break out of them.
Okay, so it looks to me like self-awareness. Stop for a second. So go slow in order to go fast.
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
So
very nice.
That's what
very
I
nicely
like.
said, Erid.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So
I love it.
Yeah, like you stop for a second. Watch, and you said another thing before, like getting feedback, and I think I like that. So being humble.
Yeah.
Being humble enough to get some feedback, to people who are willing to tell you the truth, because you don't want to walk around with a salad in your teeth, right? When you have an important meeting.
True.
So
yeah,
the people
exactly.
who tell us maybe our faults, they actually do us a huge favor. And if we think about it, it takes so much courage from somebody to tell you your faults, right? Or your, how can I say, not your faults, but how can we say it? Like the wrong things we do, or our imperfections.
Yeah, exactly. Our areas for development, let's say, our imperfection. We're all imperfect. I mean, we all have these imperfections. And as you said, I like what you said. You said that, getting feedback, and a lot of times, sometimes we have people around us that we call negative because they always see the negative. But if you really open your mind and allow put your ego aside and allow your humility to listen to these people can give you very good insight on things, because they are strong at seeing details that maybe you personally don't see. So I'm not saying that everything they say is true, but a lot of times I learned about myself from these people, but it's important to reflect on what the input they give you. Don't accept everything, because sometimes they're seeing things from their own point of view, and that is not necessarily true, but it gets you to think.
Sometimes they're just crazy.
Yeah, sometimes I mean, it's something that it's a judgment, their own judgment.
Yeah.
But even their own judgment tells you a little bit about your impact on them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get curious and you keep your eyes and ears open, you might see that impact, somebody else saw it, and then somebody else. But if 2 or 3 people see it, then maybe you should give it some thought. And that's how your self-awareness is created, if you're not able to see it yourself.
Mm-hmm. That's huge. Self-awareness is huge, really, to build upon it, because
Yeah, exactly.
you're not going to need the best education, whatever it is, if you're not self-aware. You don't feel good on your own skin. You don't have self-love,
True.
self-esteem, and all these good things, which are the basis, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. So
Very important.
if we want to move on, this podcast is called Stairway to Excellence. How would you describe the Stairway to Excellence?
Wow, very nice. I like the word Stairway to Excellence. So now I can see the stairway, and I'm walking on it now. I can visualize it. Okay, Stairway to Excellence. I would say the first thing, again, good self-awareness, because self-awareness and self-mastery is the key. I can't step on those steps if I don't have that. So humility, I would say, also, because we need to be humble. It's important for us to be humble in order to see the areas we need to work on. It starts with humility. So self-awareness, humility, courage, being courageous and taking that risk. And I think what helps us here be courageous is the way we see mistakes. So it's important to know that mistakes are like a blessing, because that's how we learn. Imagine your life without any mistake. I mean, what would you learn? You wouldn't learn anything. It would just be luck that you got wherever you wanted. So when there's a mistake, it means there's a challenge. There's something where you need to, think more about and challenge yourself and grow and develop. So if you approach mistakes in that way, this will give you the courage to do them and make them. And if there's something I learned in my life, maybe that's not a huge experience, but in my humble experience that I have, I learned that I made mistakes much more than I made the right thing. I did the right thing. So mistakes are much more numerous than the successful points in life. So imagine how much I would have lost if I had not wanted to make mistakes. So yeah, be courageous and brave enough to make mistakes, and also be amazing at what you can do. Mm-hmm. So first of all, find out what you love to do, and really be better than many. I don't like to compare to others, but at least always challenge yourself to be really, really great at what you do. Because I think that's very important. And that's what really differentiates people, is that, giving that amazing value to people, so that they would really love to work with you and come back or whatever. So let's say them again. So self-awareness and humility, being courageous enough to make mistakes and learn from mistakes, and also work on yourself, on your craft, on whatever you do well. Find that thing that you do very well and that you're talented in, and really develop it. Don't just say, okay, I'm talented. No, you need to work hard. You need to always develop yourself. You need to always learn. And because, continuous growth and learning is really key to excelling and being an achiever. And, if you want to take that staircase, you really have to work hard and really do your best in, developing yourself. And one thing maybe that maybe we don't see it as a direct link, but I feel is very important, especially since I work with emotional intelligence. Heal your emotions. I mean, really grow your emotional intelligence. Heal the things you have from the past, whatever, we all have our issues, and we all have difficult times we went through. We all have, these bruises from our past, and it's okay. I mean, there's nothing to be ashamed of, but it's very important to work on them and heal them as we move on that staircase, as we move along that journey, because somewhere these might stop us and bring us back if we're not aware of them and if we don't really work on them. So emotional healing is very, very important. It's as important as your mindset and your your mind and the skill that you have. You need to really feel emotional healing. And maybe one last thing is find a purpose that's greater than you, and don't be just limited to yourself and money or whatever. Don't attach yourself that, okay, I want to climb that staircase because there's a lot of cash up there. That's not it. To be perseverant, to really face all the challenges, because you're going to have a lot of challenges, you're going to have a lot of problems, a lot of issues. If you don't really believe in what you do and in the purpose of a bigger purpose than yourself, you're doing this to change the world, to create a better place for people around you or whatever. When you have that purpose and that thing that is greater than you, that's key. That's key. That keeps you going. That gives you the perseverance. That gives you the drive, the motivation to pick yourself back up and to continue up those stairs, because you're going to get tired and many times you're going to fall down, and it's okay. But you need that drive, you need that motivation to pick you back up and continue. And that comes from really having purpose, and a purpose that's not just related to you, that's bigger than you, that's related to this world, this universe, this community, whatever you want to see it, to God, whatever you want to see it. Each one sees it in his own way, but there needs to be a purpose that's bigger than us. That's what I believe, I guess. I hope I didn't cram you with too many things.
No, that was an amazing explanation of the stairway to excellence, and really unique. If I can add something to the way you said it, for example, when we heal us emotionally, it's like if we let go, like the brake, it's like pushing the gas and letting go the hand brake, or how do you call it? Like emergency brake. That's right. That's the right. And then when we have a vision, and when we have a vision, it's like we are pulled from this vision. So
yeah,
like
exactly.
3 times faster or 10 times faster. So I just can't agree with that explanation of the stairway to excellence that you gave. That was super.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it.
Awesome. Yeah, of course. Yes. And it's really inspiring. So
see, you're getting the best out of me. You've created that oxytocin in me and that trust, and that's why you're bringing out the best in me, Erid. I must say, thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, I try to do my best. It's like I'm still working on myself every day, and also sometimes when I start interviews, maybe I'm just a little shyer, go slower, but it's like also having these kind of conversations is helping me a lot to open myself. So one of the other advice that I can give is like just talk to people and get your craft, master your craft, as you said. That was also huge. Master your craft. 200% agree.
Very important.
Awesome.
And and the people, I like the point you said around people, because and it's not about just networking. Like, I like the word networking, but sometimes I feel it's like there's like some manipulation there. Some people misunderstand networking or whatever. It's having good, real, trustworthy relationships around you. So creating these deep, trustworthy relationships, people who are willing to do whatever to support you, and you in return, of course, and you support them in return, because it's a But yeah, you're right. That's a very important point that I missed. And having the right people around you, good people you can trust, that really helps in success, because we can't do it alone.
Look, one of the things and the reasons I created the podcast is this to stay connected to great people. You know, like this get me in contact with people like yourself, other coaches that I had.
Yeah.
You know, so
Wow, that must
surround
be
yourself.
amazing.
Yeah, surround yourself with great people. So, and then most of all, like for example, getting feedback. I had coaches myself because when I realized, you know, is that I don't have to do it myself. So this is also very important. People don't understand that, you know, like getting advice or getting a coach and help,
Exactly.
getting some help. It's essential because there are things
Of
that we
course.
don't see talking about the self-awareness of before, right?
Exactly. Exactly. As I said, I mean, if it weren't for my coach, I wouldn't have found out my limiting, a really important limiting belief that was really stopping me. So yeah, we can't know it all. I mean, we need to stay connected to people. That's how we flourish. Connection is very important. And I think God created us on purpose like this, so that we really stay connected with other people, and we're not just loners all by ourselves. Yeah, we need that connection. They will give us insight into things that we don't see, because each one of us can see certain things, and other people can see things in a different way, and that's what enriches us, is when you see, oh wow, look at this person, how he sees it, and oh wow, look how I was limited to this. Now my vision grew. So yeah, that's very important, and it's very enriching. So yeah, you're lucky, Erid. So I need to start my own podcast now. Now you're making me want.
Awesome. We are here to inspire, Nadine, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. So, talking about inspiration, if somebody wants to work with you, where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram for sure, and I'm on Instagram and Facebook. My name is Coach Nadine Zeinoun. Nadine is Nadine, Nadine, and Zeinoun is Zeinoun, Zeinoun. And of course, I'm also on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, I'm Nadine Zeinoun Khouri. And my YouTube channel is also Coach Nadine Zeinoun. So they can find me anywhere of these, on social media. And I don't know if you're gonna. There's a link if you would like to share with them a link. I'd love to support anyone who's struggling with engaging their team or engaging a group of people. I would love to support you by giving you, one free coaching session with me, a 45-minute session. So if you do want, please use the link that Erid will share with you, and book a call with me. So I'd love to be of help and support you.
Yes, yes, of course. We will share all your links, so in order people can find you easier. And it was an amazing conversation. Before we wrap it up, I have one more question. Actually, a couple more questions. Usually, I ask, what are your favorite 3 books?
Okay, favorite 3 books. I have many. Okay, maybe one. Okay, first of all, let's start with you mentioned Anthony Robbins, Tony Robbins. So I'm a fan of Tony Robbins. I like the Awaken the Giant Within.
Yes.
I also like Robin Sharma's book, The 5 a.m. Club, which I try to apply a lot. So, and I like a book that's maybe not very well, maybe people haven't heard of it a lot because it's not, all over. Not everyone knows about it, but it's called Willpower. I don't know if you've read it yourself. It's by Professor Roy Baumeister. I took a class with him once, and he's amazing. He has a lot of research around willpower, and the things you see in this book are really enlightening. It tells you how you can grow your willpower and your self-regulation. And, because self-regulation, believe it or not, is even more important for success than self-esteem. So imagine, although we always talk about self-esteem, and of course, self-esteem is a very important point, but self-regulation is even more correlated with success. And he gives a lot of research, which you can, use to create nice tips for your life to grow your willpower. So that was really an amazing book that I read a long time ago, but I love it. I always go back to it.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Another question would be, what would be the advice you would give to your 20-year-old self?
Oh, wow. My 20-year-old self. I wish I could go back to that.
If you could go
okay,
back.
My 20-year-old self. Yeah, I would, first of all, I would tell my 20-year-old self, don't underestimate yourself. You are worthy of success like anyone else. So that's the first thing I would tell myself. Find out what you love to do and be courageous enough to pursue it and persevere. That's the most important thing. Persevere. Do not give up. Don't let anything or anyone get in the way of that dream and that aspiration.
And Nadine, you seem like really energetic. Where do you get all this energy from?
Okay, I work out a lot. I eat healthy. And, I am blessed with a very positive mindset, I must say. And that helps me a lot because especially nowadays, I don't know if you're very much aware of Lebanon. So I live in Lebanon, and here we're going through a really bad situation, very bad, the financial crisis. We had a very huge explosion in August, which was really devastating for the company. So in addition to COVID, we have a lot of problems. And, if living here, if really I am blessed with a positive mindset, I really work a lot on removing negative thoughts and really focusing on the things that I can control and the things that will really get me somewhere. And I try to live in a bubble, believe it or not. So I try not to hear the negative news around me because that's really, really debilitating. So, and I focus on my work, what I love to do, my purpose, supporting these people around me who need support, and I get into action. And I think one thing that really keeps me up is I really celebrate my wins, my very small wins. Okay, they're not like huge wins, but every single day I really think of, okay, what did I do today? And, what was good and how did I do that? What strength did I use? I really focused a lot on my strengths and my achievements. And again, I'm saying achievements as, very small steps, because remember, very small wins, on a daily basis, consistently, that's what Robin Sharma says, done consistently will lead to, extraordinary results. And I am blessed with being able to do that. So I always focus on what I can control. I put myself into action rather than sit and worry and worry and worry. And I always, always, always look at my achievements and how I helped whoever, or what I did, whatever achievement it is, even if it's a very small achievement. And this really brings up the oxytocin in me, the serotonin, the dopamine. And I think this is what really keeps me going, very frankly.
Sounds to me like you have a best-selling book yourself. So if I can buy it somewhere, let me know.
I hope so. Yeah, that's one of my dreams. I'm
Awesome.
working on that.
Amazing, amazing. Last question before we wrap it up. Did you have a good time?
Oh, I loved it. And I was going to say that, Erid. I must say that part of my motivation and my energy is also because of you and because of this wonderful discussion between us, which made me feel safe and happy to give my best. So thank you.
Awesome. I want to thank you for being our podcast and giving so much inspiration and value. And I mean, really, that was great, which if people does only 10% of what you shared with us, I think their lives going to be 100% better.
Yeah, I hope so. And I'm here to help them and support them if they need anything.
Yes. Please get in touch with Coach Nadine Zeinoun. And I want to thank you one more time. Thank you, everybody. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so much, Erid.
Thank you.